All right, so tonight I got to catch the new 47 Meters Down Uncaged. What was funny about this is that I went into it pretty much blind. Now, as you guys know, if you've watched my channel, I really enjoy the first one outside of the ending. I've talked about that ad nauseum. I'm not going to continue with my dislike for that last couple minutes. That said, I did really enjoy the rest of the movie, and with Johannes Roberts coming back to direct this, and with the work that he did on Strangers Prey at Night, I was like, sweet, let's give it another go. Maybe this is one that'll have an ending that's more satisfying, because I thought it was a very thrilling shark movie, and we do not get enough good shark movies, so pack them on, give me more, I'm there, I'm gonna be there opening night. I was mostly there by myself though, so this was not hitting very big where I personally went. It was Thursday night, you know, kind of advanced screening kind of thing, but it was like me and like 5 people. So that was kind of a shame, and it was a huge theater. They put it in the big theater, and no one was in there. So yeah, so in the opening credits of this movie, it was really funny because there was a bunch of names that I half recognized. I saw a Basinger, I saw a Stallone, I saw a Fox, it was just like, what the hell? So when I got out, I Googled it, and Breck Basinger is not Kim Basinger related at all. I do recognize her now though, having looked up her name, because she's gonna be Stargirl in the upcoming DC Universe show. But the Stallone is Stallone's daughter, and the Fox is Jamie Foxx's kid. So, you know, you have a couple celebrities' kids there. And then I was also like, wait, Basinger and Stallone, they made Grudge Match together. And then one of the other actors' names in the movie's last name is Rambo. So I was just laughing when I was watching the opening credits, like, what the hell is going on? Because I didn't go into this knowing who the hell was in it, and didn't look at any of that kind of stuff. Now, what this is about of course, 4 young, beautiful women out on an adventure, and they are going to go to this secluded area where 2 of the characters' dad is down in this like Mayan underwater city. So the city was built underground, but there was no water there at that point, and then it flooded, and now it is a lost city. And these girls go down there to party and hang out, and there's a bunch of scuba equipment that's been set out for a tour that he's going to lead down there, you know, a team of scientists or something. And so, of course, the girls decide it's going to be a great idea to just go in and take a quick little peek. And when they get down in there, things go horribly wrong, and there is a shark down there. So this movie very much plays out like The Descent underwater. What separates this movie from the first movie is that in the first movie, they're essentially trapped in the cage almost, you know, most of the movie, and then they will kind of swim away from the cage and then swim back, and swim away from the cage and kind of swim back. And so they're, you know, kind of stuck in one position almost the entire film, which can get a little, it's never boring, it's not a boring film, but it's hard to continue to keep up that kind of atmosphere when there's no movement to the film, when there's no flow. They're never showing new locations, so it can kind of start to feel stale. And in this movie, with them being able to move throughout these caverns, you would think there would be more exploration and there'd be more places and set pieces and stuff like that to go. What ends up happening here, though, for me, was that it felt like wash, lather, rinse, repeat. So they go into one area, shark comes in, they go to exit the room, and he goes and he chomps and he gets stuck in an area, and he's just like chomping at him, and then they go into the next room. I don't want to give spoilers here, but it was very repetitive. And I don't know, this is where it's hard for me as someone who's seen so many of these kinds of movies. Not just shark movies, not just killer animal movies, not just, you know, thrillers, anything. It's horror in general. And so I guess in a way, I'm more privy to what's probably coming than maybe most would be. So it's hard for me to gauge this. But for my own personal experience, I found almost every scare in the movie to be extremely predictable. They all went for that out of nowhere, in the moment, Samuel Jackson, Deep Blue Sea, but it just felt telegraphed. It felt like everything gets very silent, people start talking, and you're like, you just know it's kind of, I did. Every single time I was like, here we go, boom, and it would happen. Boom, and it would happen. Boom. And then as I said, every time they go to escape, it felt like the same thing each time. And so even though it almost reminded me of the movie Cube in a way, to where even though they moved to the next room, because the next room looks exactly the same, it felt like one location throughout the film, which is actually the greatest use of one location ever on film is in the movie Cube. Just change the lighting inside and boom, you got you've got unlimited locations, even though you're technically only in one location filming. Brilliant. But with this, the temple just felt, whatever you want to call this thing, the Mayan temple is what I think it was called. It just felt like the same thing over and over and over again. And then the ending comes, and the ending is just over the top. As I wouldn't say I rolled my eyes, but it was like, Jesus Christ, come on. Like, how much more can happen here? Which isn't exactly a negative, but it did feel a little much towards the end. It was just like, okay, come on. So overall, I'll say I liked it. I had my issues with it for sure. I thought it was very predictable. I felt like it was repetitive, stuff like that. And the characters, I felt like the dramatic stuff that was going on with the characters, with the two sisters who were like sisters by marriage, not getting along. One's kind of a loser, the other one is rebellious, and they're really at odds with each other, and then through it they have to grow together as sisters. It's a dynamic we've seen a million times, and there's nothing being brought new to that dynamic for it to be memorable. So it's just kind of a relationship that will fade into the back of my memory and disappear. It'll just be like, yeah, kind of, I'll know like the beats of it. Just that's it. And then overall, it'll be forgettable in a month from now. So it's not something that I would absolutely rush to. I didn't hate it. I think there will definitely be people who are horribly against it. They'll find it generic, boring, whatever. I don't find it boring. It just was too predictable and too much at times. And another thing is that this is more of a monster movie this time. Like the other one, the 47 meters down, the first one, it felt more realistic. This one, I really do mean that it's like The Descent underwater, because the sharks in this have been down there for like however long, and they've adapted, and they're blinded, and they look like descent creatures turned into sharks, and they're hunting them. And it was fine. I walked out just kind of like, like some, didn't like other parts, just kind of good. So, not a terrible time. Honestly, I feel like this one could have went straight to DVD, straight to VOD. That's the way it felt when I was watching it. It kind of felt like a straight to DVD sequel. But there's still some thrills to be had. There's still some fun moments. There's still some hot chicks to look at. There's still some basic stuff going on that's pleasable. So I'm not going to completely trash the movie by any means, but it's not something I expect anyone to come back to me and be like, oh my God, I absolutely loved it. It was perfect or anything. That's just not what's going to happen here. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think if you see it. And I have a sneaking suspicion, though, that a good amount of my subscribers are going to tell me they're going to wait for a DVD or not see it at all. So we'll see what happens with that. I hope I didn't knock any wind out of anybody's sails, but it is what it is. All right, guys. Adios.